Simcha, there is an agreement for a three-tier structure. I'm not saying this. It is in the latest report of the Institute for the Study of War. This is very important. I think this is very important. So there is such an attempt in Syria, and that Israel is also in Lebanon. There was Gaza, and then Mr. Meat has just mentioned this. Egypt, look, you know there is a very interesting statement today. Egypt's arming the Sinai. There are some allegations that Israel is building up a military buildup and at the same time burying heavy weapons underground. What is it already preparing for? Here, look, it did not comply with the Camp David agreement. In the agreement we made in '79, what does it say there in the Camp David agreement? They express it. There is a 220-kilometer border between Egypt and Israel in the Sinai Peninsula. And here, according to the Camp David agreement, it is supposed to have 700 troops. Now, Egypt has increased this. After Gaza, I have always said from the beginning that if Gaza, if it's completely occupied, Sinai will be next. Then it will come to Jordan. He will also come to the West Bank, which he is already talking about. And after that, look, let me even say this: Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Gaza, Egypt, these 5 countries. If this is the way it goes in the coming period, Israel really, the following is a reality. We need to emphasize it in advance, at least as a prediction. It will really change borders, and this will go much further. Now they will start with 5 countries, but then they will go to the Anbar region of Iraq, for example, and in this way they will reorganize the Middle East. They will try to create an Israel. I am saying this in line with the Seljuk borders. This is very dangerous. So with Trump's rhetoric, it should also be underlined that their actions in the Middle East are very different.
You know, now we will go back to Ankara, to Ayhan Bilgin, Ayhan Bey, the U.S. weapons. We have seen the 2026 budget allocated for the defense industry on our screens, and you see it too. $831.5 billion. And that it is actually a very small slice. Let me ask my friends to bring it to our screens. The slice of the pie that you see in blue is just the slice we just read about. The modernization of nuclear weapons, military aid for Ukraine, missile defense systems, hypersonic missiles, Taiwan, Iraq, Syria, the Pacific Containment Initiative. What will be the other part? Of course, there are also investments to develop the defense industry within the country, but in the future, we are now providing Israel with $6 billion in aid. They call it arms sales, not aid. We know it will be arms sales. As we go through this, I wonder if he will spend some more of the $831.5 billion to support Israel.
Maybe it's, Israel's plan for Gaza, and then how the United States will react to the world's acceptance of a settlement in the West Bank. I think it will depend on the developments of the period. Just as a joke, as an irony, and maybe he's thinking of spending the rest of it on regime change in Venezuela. In other words, closer to home. Of course, in the meantime, especially because of its objectives in the Pacific, for example, it's reducing the number of patriots in Europe. So it's said to be a significant amount, because there is a view that the inventory that they have is very low in terms of the risks in the Pacific, which is about 25% of what it should be. The justification is explained. Now, I think this attitude towards Europe is important here. Is it a threat? There is another expectation, and because they do not act in accordance with this expectation, you see them, you see you in front of the Russians, I won't protect you. I don't know if it's based on the bluff of me saving it. maybe there is this dimension to it, but there was a different approach to Ukraine. At the last point, as far as I know, the Europeans are more interested in investing in the arms industry in Ukraine than in arms aid to Ukraine, focused. These are, of course, initiatives and approaches that will have different consequences. I mean, the United States of America, with so much foreign debt, which is now the most popular reaction in the world, is that these debts will be paid through sheep on the discussions on the economy. So much debt, so much current account deficit. So still, on the one hand, here is the economy in Trump's election campaigns. Political anomaly that the American people bought, affirmed, put their hopes in. There are promises that he cares about, that he is motivated enough to get someone like Trump elected for a second term. And as part of that, there is the defense industry, which is the budget that comes from America's role as the gendarme in the world. Problems. Therefore, I am one of those who think that Trump will draw a new course with the midterm elections. So, if a Democrat-dominated balance starts to form in the Senate, not a Republican-dominated balance as expected, Trump's political stance, I think he may take his insistence and stubbornness to a different place after the elections.